The way I see it, the way I see it, the way I see it. This is a new segment to talk about the election and what is going on with the election and the way I see it and why I'm choosing, who I'm choosing, and how I have arrived at this conclusion. So let's break it down. You know, right now we have Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And people say crooked Hillary. You know, they use the term crooked Hillary in order to, because they don't feel like they can trust her and because email servers and stuff like that. That's on that side. In regards to Donald Trump, it's what he says, the way he carries himself, the insulting things that he communicates to the rest of the world, and how people are insulted by what he said and how he comes off as a candidate in general or as a human being in general. People are offended about how he comes off as a human being, much less a candidate. So I mean, but I'm not. That's not me saying it. That's the world saying it. So then um, you think about what is responsible for the United States. What is responsible for the United States? For me personally, regardless of whether a person can have the characteristics and the possibilities of being able to make America great, but if a person is reactive and making America great takes cards. It's like building a house of cards. And we'll get to the reference about House of Cards. In order to build up a good house of cards, you have to balance all your cards in an even and equilibrium way, because that's what America is. Even though we are strong and we are united and we are powerful, sometimes the things that we do and the things that we say can set off ripple effects and can create chaotic evidences throughout our life and the toppling of a house of cards in that particular segment. For instance, the toppling of the House of Cards in Flint, Michigan, where there was a water disaster. The toppling of the House of Cards in Louisiana, with Katrina. So that was the consciousness of a toppling of a chaos, basically chaos. The toppling of a house of cards is chaos, is the equivalent to chaos. Then you ask yourself, who is more capable of toppling the house of cards or have a desire to topple the house of cards? And I would have to say Donald Trump. Donald Trump is someone who is very reactive, someone who is very um, can come off can even though he may have really great ideas and even though he may have done some great things within his own personal business and whatnot and within raising of his children, his reactive behavior and the way that other comes off. Remember, when you go back to high school or even junior high school, and remember the kid that was always mouthing off, and eventually someone was going to pop that kid. You knew that that kid was like, they would gossip and they would say things about people. Oh, their hair looks like a crown, or they look like this, or oh, they look like that. Eventually someone wanted to pop that kid. And I think that's the Donald Trump to me is equivalent of that kid that instigates, riles people up. Now, in regards to Hillary Clinton and crooked Hillary, as some people call it from the Donald Trump camp, let's say everything that they say is true. Let's say everything that they say is true. That she murdered people, that they secretly murdered people, that they let things, secret situations, and, she flip-flops and whatnot. At the end of the day, Hillary Clinton wants to go down as a historical figure. So in order to go as the first female president of the United States in history and as a historical figure. So that is one of the most integral, crucial things in her soul. So she's not going to, so she's going to do whatever she wants for that to happen. She's not going to destroy the United States. Her efforts are not to randomly. She's going to be, as you have seen her in her campaigns and the way she communicates, she's very cautious in the way she communicates. She's very cautious about what she says. She was very cautious about how she communicated and how she came out to the United States and to the American people. But even then, people still started bringing the whole, if people are true about the element of her being quote unquote crooked, then the best character that we could relate her to would be Frank and Claire Underwood from House of Cards. Now, if you have not seen House of Cards, I highly recommend you watch House of Cards because it'll really explain to you how people perceive Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, and perhaps in a certain way. And I would even bet to argue that the writers pulled from references to there's hints when you watch the series, and I've watched it several times, that the writer kind of puts in there that there may be a reference to the characteristics of Bill and Hillary Clinton. So when it comes to choosing, and let's say Frank and Claire were Bill and Hillary Clinton. Let's say Bill and Hillary were Frank and Claire. I would still go for Frank and Claire because of their desire to be historic, for historic value. Whereas this individual, with bankruptcies and with things that have happened, is just, they have no problem in destroying things and moving on, destroying things and moving on. So that's why I cannot trust. They're both, if people want to say that they're both crooked, then there's one that the best interest of this particular one is the best interest of the American people, regardless of whether you believe she is crooked or not. So thank you, and I want to wish you a wonderful, wonderful year. Take care.